Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And before we get into this one, I'm going to tack something onto the back of this video. It was a false start for this video. I was about to start and something happened. And I just think it's funny. So I'm going to put it on right at the back end of this video. It's a bit of an outtake, if you will. But do watch it. It made me laugh. Anyway, I did a video, getting into this one, I did a video the other day about the problems of being a landlord in Scotland. A way that the SNP have continually strived to change the law and push the rights of tenants against landlords. And so it's got so bad that a lot of landlords are selling up, getting out, and the stock of private rented properties is shrinking. It means that those that do remain can command a much higher price, and that doesn't help the homeless. And I did actually in that video, suggest a few remedies that would help. But the problem is so bad now that Glasgow City Council are begging, on bended knees, they are begging people to rent properties and rent rooms in properties and things like that for the homeless problem. You see, they've only got about 25,000 availability of rooms, but they've got over 250,000 people waiting. And it is a terrible position, and they have a legal obligation. They haven't got the money. They haven't got even the hotel rooms available to put these people up. It is that bad, and so they are absolutely begging people to please rent out properties or rent out rooms and things like that. Well, it's a bit late now. You can't destroy the market. You cannot go after the landlords for years and years and years and make their lives hell and tell them they can't put the rents up by any more than this and tell them they can't evict people even if they're not paying the rent and so on. And then turn around to the same landlords and say, oh, actually, can you help us? Because you know what's going to happen. And indeed, it's happening. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this article here to see why Glasgow Council have screwed up so royally and why they are in so much trouble. Because if they don't get this sorted, they could end up being taken to court. And it is the chief executive officer that could stand there in the dock. He's very worried. Anyway, let's go have a look at this right now. So, appeal for more Glasgow homes to let in homelessness meltdown. Should have thought of this. Everyone told you, don't keep going after the landlords. If that market goes, you're in trouble. That market went, and you're in trouble. Get what get what you pay for. Play silly games, get silly prizes, and you've won this one. Health chiefs in Scotland's biggest city have sent out an appeal to landlords for homes to rent for the homeless, while acknowledging that there is a risk of a breach of its legal duties to provide emergency accommodation. Well, yeah. I wonder why this happened. I wonder why there's not enough homes to rent. It's a mystery, isn't it? Isn't it, children? It's a mystery. Housing campaigners fear there is a meltdown over the handling of homelessness in Glasgow as it emerged that, according to the June analysis, the Glasgow City Health and Social Care Partnership, which is a mouthful and is also the amalgamation of a couple of things, Glasgow City Council and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, something like that. Anyway, they've emerged and they formed this. And it was 1,600 lets short of the 4,500 it needs annually. This is just the emergency ones. It's not the whole problem. The whole problem is 250,000. 250,000 people. It's emerged that HSCP officers have written to all registered social landlords, RSLs, requesting 60% of all social housing lets for the resettlement of homeless households. Yeah, but these houses are already filled with people. Social landlords have got people in there. What are you going to do? Take someone out of their house, make them homeless to put a homeless person in? That doesn't make sense, does it? They say it reflects the need to rapidly reduce the reliance on temporary bed and breakfast accommodation to house the homeless. Have you tried building houses? Have you tried saying to builders, look, we're going to relax the building requirements here. We're not going to take so much, excess. We're not going to make you build a school and put them. We're not going to put them Section 11s on, your Section 40s on, things like that. No. You just go and build 100 houses. We'll have 10 of them as rental properties, something like that. The builders will be in there. They'll be like a rat up a drain pipe. You'll have those houses in no time. Anyway, the HSCP has admitted there's a risk of judicial sanctions over the handling of the city's homeless. Well, your own fault. It comes as HSCP, the amalgamation of Glasgow City Council and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, which delivers community health and social care services, seeks to cut back on its use of high-cost hotel and bed and breakfast services, as it faces an overspending of its budget by £16.5, nearly £17 million. Well, while you are continually banging the drum about how bad landlords are and the landlords keep leaving, imagine the problem is going to get worse. If you had a very healthy, wide rental property, rents wouldn't be as high across the board, and people who are currently in social housing may even afford to rent privately, freeing up the social housing. But you're not doing that. You can't do that because you're too stupid, because you've got those three little letters that means so little. SNP. Councils have a statutory obligation to offer temporary accommodation when they assess a person or household as unintentionally homeless. Most councils meet this obligation all of the time. The housing regulator has warned of an emerging risk of systemic failure in local authorities' homelessness services, as some councils are finding it increasingly difficult to meet the challenges of providing services for those who are homeless, and of course their statutory duties. Well, you know, when you have a builder who says, right, there's a nice piece of land out there, we can put 100 houses on it, and you know, we'll give you 10 social houses, which either means low purchase price or, you know, goes into social housing rental. And the council say, oh, yeah, that'd be excellent, excellent. Oh, but we want you to make a commitment to this, and we need you to build a road there, and we want a little school built here. And all of a sudden, that development, which would have made a profit, isn't making a profit. And so the builders go back and say, well, if we do all this, we're not making a profit. And then the SNP council say, we don't care, we want these things. And so the builder says, yeah, we can't do those things. Well, you're not getting the permission anyway. That's fine, we'll go away. No, we want you to build them. Well, we've got to make a profit. You know, that's how capitalism works. They don't like it, and then they won't bend because they're the SNP and they're never wrong. And of course, then there's 100 houses not built because the SNP are greedy and they want this and that and the other and a bus shelter. You know, nobody objects. You know, you don't object to building a few things, like I say, Section 38s and whatever. You don't object to it. But when it's too much and it's too greedy and it actually takes away all the profit out of the entire project, nobody's going to be stupid enough to do it. Anyway, letters were sent to landlords after it emerged that while the local letting plan sought a requirement to secure 4,500 lets for the homeless, but only 2,900 were provided. The Scottish Tenants Organisation feared a meltdown over how the homeless are accommodated in the city, saying future prospects for those in need were disastrous and will continue to get worse under the SNP. Said there is a housing and homelessness catastrophe unfolding in Glasgow, which will lead to a complete disaster for our most vulnerable citizens, unless the Scottish Government intervene immediately to give Glasgow City Council substantial additional monies so that thousands more social rented houses can be built. Built. You can't just keep renting, it's got to be built. I've been saying that all along. You need to allow builders to go in and not be greedy. Not pile them on all the sections. Give them the opportunity to build and make money, but as they're doing so, providing you with houses. It's simple. If the authorities do nothing, then there will be a drift to a social disaster which will reach a point of no return for the city of Glasgow. We need radical action, he said. Well, they do, and there's nothing's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen because there's the greed and intransigence of the SNP, the party that is never wrong. And it just goes on with some sort of details of how many of this, how many of that, and some of this figure as I covered in the previous video. It's all data down there, but it is the fact that while you've got a party that wants to continually hammer landlords, bang, 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 all the time. So you're pulling out all these houses out of the private sector, pushing the prices up in the private sector. You haven't got anywhere near enough in the public sector. What is the thinking? What do you think would happen when you haven't got enough in the public sector and you're hammering all the private sector? What do you think is going to happen? Because a moron would work out what was going to happen. But not the SNP. Unbelievable, isn't it? But, you know, it's their business. They're the best. They know everything. They're never wrong. So let's just tell all the homeless, go and knock on Humza Yousaf's door. Maybe he can let you, you know, camp down in Butte House. There's a big building. They're always talking about how virtuous they are. Let's see how virtuous they are. But they're not that virtuous. Anyway, coming up, and we'll finish the video. Thing is, if anyone watched this video who is SNP and is an SNP councillor or an SNP government or anything like that, they'd watch this video, they'd understand, they'd nod sagely, yes, he's right. Are we going to change our mind? No. Why? Landlords are bastards. Or, you know, that's it. That's all they think, landlords are bastards. Not every landlord is bloody Rackman. Some landlords are good. Some landlords are very good. There's the occasional bad one, but hey. Can't punish everyone because of the bad wheels, you know. Anyway, I shall finish there, and I shall come up and I shall finish and I'll round it off. But I just want to remind you, just wait till the screen goes black, and then there's a little bonus outtake at the end. So anyway, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, they need you more than you need them. And do subscribe and like, that'd be grand. Keep an eye out for the outtake at the back, and bye. Hi. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? That is my dog sneezing. He's got a cold. Every now and again he has a real sneeze fit. Anyway, I'm going to